Well, for months and months, Democrats screeched that it was a national imperative to impeach and remove the president. They didn't want to do it, they said. They were praying very hard, almost constantly, fasting and prayer, ashes and sackcloth. But it simply had to be done. People of faith wanted the president impeached. So they did. They impeached him. And then suddenly, like in a day, Democrats lost interest in impeachment. In fact, they've refused to forward the articles of impeachment to the Senate as they are required to do constitutionally. Now, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri is proposing that the Senate summarily dismiss the articles passed by the House because they're not prosecuting them. The whole thing is bizarre. What does it mean? Trey Gowdy is the man to answer that question. He's, of course, a former congressman and prosecutor from South Carolina and joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So where would you assess where we are now?
Well, I understand the Senate's frustration. The House's constitutional prerogative is over, but these impeachment articles are sitting somewhere in legislative purgatory. If I were a senator, and I won't be, but if I were, I would file a motion to assume jurisdiction and set a trial date. I would do both things. Assume jurisdiction so it doesn't remain in this constitutional penumbra, which is where it is now. Set a trial date for a week from today and say, Mr. Schiff, if you're proud of your work product, show up and present the case to the jury. If you don't show up Monday, we're going to assume that you weren't serious about it to begin with, and then we'll file the motion to dismiss. I wouldn't make the Cory Gardners of the world and the Martha McSallys vote to dismiss before I gave them a chance to acquire jurisdiction and set a day certain for the trial to begin a week from today.
What's the thinking, do you think, in Pelosi's office right now? I mean, is it just that they didn't want to impeach, AOC forced her to, essentially, and then she decided it was hurting them, so they stopped? Is that what happened?
I think there's a couple of things, Tucker. I never thought this was about removing Donald Trump from office, because that's not going to happen. I think it was always about neutering his second term by taking the Senate. And, you know, there are a couple of ways to provide oversight in our culture. One is with the voters, but that happens irregularly. It'll happen again in November. But in the meantime, it's the media's job to provide that oversight. I'll give you $1 for every negative story you have read about Nancy Pelosi sitting on articles of impeachment in a constitutionally unprecedented way. I hadn't seen a word of criticism. I've seen her lauded as a tactician, but no criticism about this legislative purgatory she has the country in.
No. To the shills at the Washington Post, it's like, you know, it's whatever it takes. You know, they don't care. Thank you, Congressman. That was a great and clear explanation. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir. Thank you.